Hey guys, happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great time. 8:32 on the clock. Yeah, that is central in the Midwest here. So hope everybody's having a great week. It's hump day. Week is half over now. You only have 2 more days. 2 more days to go until you get to the weekend. Working in retail, I only have one day off until Thanksgiving, and that's tomorrow. So I am taking full advantage of that day tomorrow, and I'll be doing laundry and stuff and having a good time, and hopefully getting a lot of rest. And then the push starts tomorrow for Thanksgiving, then a couple weeks of downtime, and then Christmas, and then I'm looking forward to January 2nd right now, actually. So that's the downfall of working in retail, but hey, you know what? It's all good. I know a few of you in here know what I'm talking about too. So, but anyway, glad everybody's here. Hope everybody enjoyed the show last night. I was still thinking about those stories that Natalie told, and I had to go back and rewatch it because my internet was all messed up. And man, what a time. That was crazy. That was really crazy. We have a great show tonight. Jerry Millwood is on the show tonight. He was also down in the LBL with the NCI guys, along with Greg and everybody else from Relic Films and everybody that was there. So he's going to come up here in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk more about what they saw down in the LBL this weekend. But a few things real quick to a little bit of housekeeping. I have the link to my website. If you want to head on over there, paranormalamongus.com. That's pinned to the top of the chat over there on YouTube. If anybody, 15% off on everything in the store. Let me see if I can get that up. No, I don't have it on there real quick. Anyway, 15% off anything. We got t-shirts, we have ping pong balls, we have playing cards, we have hoodies, we have tank tops, we have hats, we have towels, we have all kinds of stuff over there. So head on over there and check that out. Makes a great Christmas present for everybody. Also, if you're feeling a little frisky tonight, if you want to send some donate some money, that would be great. If not, I just appreciate everybody, every single one of you, for being in here. And if you do, that's great. If not, that's great too. That's how we run things, get the conferences and investigations. So I got some big things coming up next year. So I'm really looking forward to the calendar flipping to 2026. Anyway, I think that's all I have. Make sure that you are subscribed to all the Misfits, Tex, Blondes and Booze, Donny, Monica, BMR, Jason, Danielle Diva, but she's on Texas from Porch. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to everybody over there. So I think I got everything under control there. Truth or tinfoil. Thank you, Bigfoot. I forgot. Don't tell Randy that. I forgot that. He's out late tonight. So anyway, we're going to bring Randy up. That's why I was thinking truth or tinfoil. We're going to bring Jerry up. I'll figure. Got to find my cursor first. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, my brother. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I don't know how to control this thing. It's just crazy.
I understand.
Yeah. Anyway, great to see you, man. I got to meet you down in Townsend with the rest of the NCI guys. And it's a pleasure meeting you. Looking forward to talking with you more tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I was excited when you sent me the message, say, hey, you want to be on the show? I was so excited. I had to sit on my hands to keep from waving at everybody.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And it's funny. I've been pretty much kind of trying to get everything Bigfoot or cryptid related going this last couple months. It's just that I'm just all fascinated by this stuff. But you've been around that kind of stuff for quite a long time, haven't you?
I've been all in since August of 2017.
Wow. What happened in August of 2017?
Well, I live here in the South Mountains region of the North Carolina foothills, Western North Carolina foothills. And We live in a very rural setting here, about 5.5 miles from the boundary of the South Mountain State Park and Game Preserve. But anyway, we turned onto a dead end road one night, my wife and I, about 9:30 at night. And the headlight swept the cornfield that was there at the time. And standing right there, just like it was watching traffic, was a humongous 7.5 foot Bigfoot. When I saw it, there was no doubt in my mind what it was. It struck me as how massive this thing was. Broad shouldered, big. I remember the size of its legs just standing there watching us. And it turned around. I tried to get the car backed up to shine the headlights on it, but by the time I did, the creature had gone back into the cornfield. But you could see its head above the corn, well above the corn, as it moved away from us. And bug bit me that day and gave me a fever that I'll have the rest of my life.
Isn't it crazy how that just gets you and just draws all your attention into it, and you just want to learn so much about it, and you just immerse yourself in it and just try and get as much out of it as you can.
Oh yeah, I had just the drive for answers. And I had been a believer in cryptids since I was a kid. So many people in our generation saw the legend of Boggy Creek, but I never would have dreamed in a million years that would happen to me. And I was thankful to have my wife with me, because it wasn't just old crazy Jerry seeing something, but my more credible wife was with me. And she didn't get the bug. She didn't get bit as hard as me, but she's also pretty diehard.
Yeah. And you have you're surrounded yourself with a bunch of guys that are on the same mission with you, with the NCI team.
I'm so blessed in that. I'm so blessed to be a part of NCI. The way that I met those guys was I got joined Dirty South Squatching with Bob Trent and Dwight Campbell, and of course Tim Deals was also in Dirty South Squatching, and they took me under their wing. I went a couple years really not having anybody to talk to, and then Tim introduced me to George and Robert and the NCI team, and then they asked me if I would join. So I am definitely surrounded by some people that's taught me some stuff.
And meeting those guys and having them on here and there over the last year or so, they nicest bunch of guys. I mean, they've invited me out there. Man, I wish it wasn't so far from me to get out there. I think you're at least like a 12-hour drive, something like that. But it's just the nicest bunch of really cool guys that you ever want to meet. And they're offering all kinds of stuff to me, and helping me out and wanting to get me out there, and that's awesome. And I'm hoping one day, hopefully maybe next year, that we can make that happen.
That would be great. Absolutely great to come to Western North Carolina.
Yeah, I love Carolina. We go to Myrtle Beach. Well, we hadn't been there in years, but we did Myrtle Beach. My wife's got an aunt and uncle that have a house or a condo on the lake, on the ocean. It's pretty cool out there. But anyway, but it's a long drive. But anyway, so you had that encounter, and you had that you believed in them all along. I don't know what have you seen since that really made you think that, hey, these are flesh and blood spiritual creatures? Really, what was your opinion on all that first?
It's been kind of a journey, I guess we'll say. There was a time when I was purely in the camp of totally flesh and blood, a creature the good Lord put on this planet that is intelligent and mostly able to stay hidden. But as things have progressed over the years, I can't say that anymore. I don't. I think that it may be flesh and blood, that these creatures may be flesh and blood, but also that there's a paranormal sense about them. The things that I've seen, I've saw them, one creature 3 times now, 3 different times, not the same creature, I don't think, but one in particular just made me realize, I think that these creatures have some kind of ability, a paranormal ability. And I actually showed I have one picture that I haven't released to the public, but I showed it to somebody when we were in the LBL who's seen a whole lot. And he said that the picture you got, that creature was morphing or coming in out of a portal. And it's a very strange picture. I'll share that with you
Yeah.
after the show. To be honest, I'm saving it for my book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
then
awesome.
but yeah. And so now I don't know. I just know that there's so many unanswered questions. I know they can come and go in a way that we don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of that, Paul.
You know, I haven't seen one, but you know, everybody that I talk to, I've had a few people that have possibly witnessed something coming in and out of a portal. Yeah, and I trust them very much. So yeah, I mean, they do have some kind of odd ability to go in and out of realms or whatever, and it's pretty interesting and kind of creepy when you think about it, that they can just all of a sudden just appear out of nothing, and here they are.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I had those two pictures on my old phone, and when I switched phones, a lot of the pictures were on this card, but my new phone doesn't have a card. And finally, my daughter was able this past week, like a week and a half ago, to take those, and she took them and put them on her computer and then emailed them to me. And so I haven't really showed it. I hadn't even showed the pictures to any of my inner circle yet.
Wow. Wow.
But that one picture is pretty powerful. It's very strange when you see it. It's got an aura about it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So you hear a lot about the orbs, like right before or after an encounter, whether it's Bigfoot, Dogman, paranormal, whatever. What do you think the connection is with those orbs?
Well, I've seen that with my own eyes and heard
Mhm.
these things with my own ears. We see a lot of orbs, strange lights, unexplained lights, whether it be on the ground, in the trees, or in the sky. And I've gotten pictures of orbs. I would have to, if pressed, I would have to say that the orbs are somehow involved in their ability to move, to transport themselves.
Mhm.
I can't help but think that.
Yeah. Or, you know, or are they morphing into something? Is that the Bigfoot, how they move so far outside of the portals or something? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there was a picture that we did on the NCI show on Channel 12 back, I don't know, probably about a year ago, maybe a little less. But the witness had sent the picture in, and it showed, in my opinion, they got a clear picture of a Bigfoot, and then suddenly there was an orb in the
Oh
next
wow.
picture.
Really? Well, that's pretty darn interesting there. Um as far as different Bigfoots from around the country, do you think they're as different as, you know, me being in the Midwest and you being in on the East Coast? Do you think it's that difference, that big of a difference?
I do. I do believe that, for example, in some areas, the creatures will show more aggression,
Hmm.
and in other areas they'll be far less aggressive. You know,
Hmm.
there's the school of thought that, well, none of them means anybody any harm, but the historical record doesn't necessarily bear that out, especially when you look at the Native American historical record of Bigfoot, for example, snatching kids and snatching women.
Hmm.
Um, Plenty of reports of people being attacked. Now, here in our area, as an example, I think that they're very docile. The most aggression you'll see is the rock throwing, or like we've experienced, coming in at night at odd hours and beating on the side of the house. Breaking in, coming into to my barn and taking feed, which is fine. They can get the locking rings off my feed barrel, so I say, okay, you can do that. I let them take what they want.
Yeah.
They've stolen. they've taken our backyard, and I think this might be juvenile Bigfoots being adolescent, just like human adolescents act. Just strewn stuff in our backyard, our lawn furniture, and some of my farm equipment. But that's the most aggression that we've seen. I've collected stories here from witnesses in the South Mountains area for 5 years now, and I have yet to have a story where a person was hurt. Animals are dogs, pigs, goats. Those are the big three that they tend to kill, especially dogs, but no human. I've never heard a story of a human being hurt around here. But we know that in other areas of the country, there are records of actual attacks on people.
I'm not crazy about the them killing the dogs part of it, but that's just part of nature, I guess. But it's so. Natalie mentioned one thing last night that kind of got me thinking about things between Dogman and Bigfoot and stuff in the LBL. And she mentioned something that she thinks the dog or the Bigfoot kind of command the Dogman. What do you think of that?
I think that could definitely be possible. Absolutely. Some of the material that I've seen on the internet and YouTube and so forth, I think there's a lot of evidence for that, and there's a lot of really knowledgeable people that believe that. I can't say that I can't discount it in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. It would seem natural almost for the more humanoid creature to have command over the canine-like creature, just like humans, we have a command over dogs.
Right. It's just that their pets are just a little bit bigger than our pets would be, a little bit more violent than our pets would be. But yeah, I mean that made a lot of sense to me, and I never really thought about it that way. I thought those two were more kind of, I don't know if enemies were the right thing, but kind of more fighting on the lands, and this is mine, this is yours, stay off this, and that's what I kind of thought they were until she mentioned that, and I'm like, oh, hey, that makes sense.
I like to rely on other people's experiences. I think anecdotal evidence is far undervalued, and there's a lot of folks that have encounters to talk about where it leads us to believe that they're working together.
Yeah,
or they're the dog men.
Yeah,
They use men to hunt. I think they use the dog men to hunt deer, for example. I believe that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I really think that like you said, there's good and bad dog men or Bigfoot around. I keep getting my words mixed up. Good and bad Bigfoot around. I've heard stories that people actually trying to communicate with them. They're Bigfoot are trying to protect them from other Bigfoot or other creatures around there. So yeah, I really think that just like good and bad humans, there's good and bad Bigfoot out there too. That they're not all of them are out there to hurt us. Maybe they're just curious about us.
Right, and I believe that's the case here where we live in the South Mountains. I think that they're highly curious, and a lot of the sightings that has been in this area, I think, were just like a rogue adolescent Bigfoot that breaks out of the plan and decides they're going to go explore. We had a period here in the South Mountains in late 1978 into 1979 where there was at minimum 3 dozen sightings, and I think that it was an adolescent Bigfoot coming out and breaking out of the mold and allowing itself to be seen. I also believe that if you see a Sasquatch or a dog man, I think it's because they allow you to see them.
Right. Yeah, I believe that too. And they're so elusive, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. One other person that I hold in high regard, especially with this topic, Bigfoot and Dogman coincide with Bigfoot being their master hunting and such. Martin Groves, yeah, he, that's very well said there.
I got to spend my most valuable part of going to the LBL was getting to meet Martin Groves and then getting to hang around and become friends with Martin.
Mhm.
Absolutely treasure. He's a treasure when it comes to the study of cryptids. And I've got one of his books now, but I'm gonna get them all, and I'm gonna talk his ear off. Say, Martin, you said you'll be watching. Get ready. We've got a lot of talking left to do, brother.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a scare there. I'm glad everything's better, and it was good to see him in pictures in the LBL, and good to see him out there with everybody. Um, so yeah, I met him in Townsend just for a little bit. There were so many people around him, I didn't want to take too much of his time. But yeah, he's every story that I've heard that he is one fantastic guy. Um, so yeah, can't wait to see him again.
Love you
Um,
too.
uh, there you go. There you go. So getting back to your time in the LBL, we heard Natalie's story last night, and what a crazy, amazing story that is. Did you guys encounter anything crazy out there?
The first thing that we encountered was maybe lost on some people. I don't know. I think Natalie talked about it last night, but we got there. Robert and I got there. Robert Effler, and it was during the daytime. And the character of that place changed so much when the sun went down. I could feel it was palpable. I could feel it.
Hmm.
We were hearing some noises that was a little bit unsettling.
Hmm.
I'm convinced that there was a Bigfoot mimicking an owl. We had the occasion that George and Robert and Tim and I kind of got to break off from the group a couple of times, and we went to Mount Pleasant Cemetery, and there's an old campground near there that's mostly ruins now, and we could feel the paranormal substance of the place immediately.
Hmm.
Uh, then we did a nighttime visit there. We didn't really have any type of visual encounter, but you could feel it. It was very, very real. It was somewhat sinister. And then we went to Bethlehem Cemetery
Hmm.
after that at night, and it was just a creepy place. And I've been to a lot of creepy places, and that place tops the list as far as the feeling that it gives.
Why do you think that it is such a big difference day and night there? I mean, there's a ton of places on this earth, and I'm sure some of them are like that as well, but it can be so, I don't know, family friendly during the day, and at night you don't want your family anywhere near there. Why do you think that is?
I think that there in the LBL during the day, you have a lot of human activity
Hmm.
with, people there for recreation purposes, hunting or fishing or just hiking or whatever. But at night, the level of human activity goes down. And for the most part, as we know, they only let us, like I mentioned earlier, they only let us see them when they want us to see them. But they become more active at night there because the human presence dies down some. There's no doubt in my mind that the whole time we camped there, that we were being watched all the time.
Do you think it was being watched as in protecting you guys? Watched as in curiosity? Or, hey, that could be my next meal?
I think that we were being watched out of necessity. Hey, we got yet another group of humans coming in here to camp. We better have somebody keep an eye on them.
Mhm,
Maybe they know what firearms are. Maybe give an assessment of, okay, this particular group is heavily armed, or they would do it just like we would do if we lived in an area and these strange people were coming in and out all the time camping. We would
mm,
want to keep an eye on these people that don't live where we're at
right.
and keep tabs on what they're doing and how they're acting, get a feel for we were each night, no doubt.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, with such a large group that you guys had, that would just, I mean, I would think you'd have a big group of whatever was out there watching you guys too. So that's really kind of unsettling.
Right. And I slapped the label immediately on it of evil. And Martin talked to me about that one night. And he said, don't be so quick to jump over to, well, these things are evil. Some of them are evil. And we talked about that too. You could feel evil, you know, dogmen, for example, I think can exude evil. But for the most part, let's face it, if they wanted to hurt us, they could have hurt us
Easily.
They could have come in, you know, if each of us sleeping individually in the different tents and what have you. They could have come right through there and snatched any one of us before we even knew what happened. So, in other words, I think if they intended to eat us, they probably would have.
Yeah.
Would have got some.
Yeah. And there's nothing that you guys could have done. No. Sign me up for that. I mean,
it was even the experience of a life.
Yeah, even with that danger, it's still a very intriguing place, and yeah, you know, people want to go there, and you know, I've never done this before, and I want to go out there, and you know, my wife says I'm crazy, but well, maybe I am. Who knows?
I wouldn't go into the LBL by myself hiking, especially at night, or camping by myself. I used to camp here when we first moved here. 12, 13 years ago, I would pack my stuff just for a night and go deep into the woods and camp by myself. Of course, I never got hurt. There was never any aggression, but there were times when I did have a feeling. I had a bad feeling, and I was told by a number of people who had more experience than me, if you have that bad feeling, listen to it.
Yeah.
So I don't go around here. I don't go in the woods at night by myself anymore.
Yeah.
Because you've got the one individual who's got that aggressive personality. Who knows? We have all these people missing in wildernesses across North America for a reason. And I don't think I would put myself in that position, definitely in the LBL.
Yeah. We got a quick question here from Mark Roberts. Jerry, how does your faith protect you in the woods?
That's a good question, Mark. And I really enjoyed hanging out with Mark and Mike Smith. Awesome dudes. Absolutely. That was a treasure to get to hang around with him and Martin and Mike. But I got a good talking to one time. There was something that happened, actually a series of things that happened here where I live. When I go out every night to check on my pasture animals, and you never know what we'll have because my wife brings everything under the sun home, but I count heads at night. And one night I was down looking for one that was missing at the very bottom of my land, and I got yelled at. It was very aggressive. There was a threatening feel to it. And it wasn't long before I got yelled at again, and I was whistled at. And then I hit a set of red eyes looking at me. And I just had to, suddenly I was overwhelmed with fear to the point of calling a friend of mine who was a retired counselor. And I didn't talk, I don't talk to everybody about this, but I let him in on what was going on. And so he counseled me a little bit and talked to me. But then my cousin's mother gave me a talking to. She said, look, you're a Christian. You're strong in your faith. You have to know that that you're under protection. And she said, certainly you don't tempt the Lord by putting yourself in compromising situations, but she said, just know that you rely on your faith. And I was terrified. I wasn't there for a couple of months. I wouldn't even go in the woods by myself because each of those experiences, there was a feeling I was feeling threatened. And I think it was because I interrupted the hunting, because there's a spot down there. And incidentally, there's an old graveyard down there too. And I
On your
think they,
property?
yep.
Okay.
And I think they were hunting, and they were letting me know that I was not welcome down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's whether it's, faith or whatever it is, whatever you have feeling in your gut telling you, don't go this place, don't go there, do this, do that. 9 times out of 10, whatever that's telling you is the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of, I don't know, creepy is the right word for that, but I'll always follow your gut, no matter what it is. That's, what my mom always used to tell me. So of course I always listen to her.
Yep.
So, what else was going on in the LBL with you guys out there?
We got to go out with on Tuesday night. This past Tuesday night, we went out to provide security when Natalie and Martin and Greg and everybody went out to Martin's, the site of Martin's first incident that he had with his camping friend.
Mhm.
And we heard definitely was being shadowed and watched. There's no doubt about that. They didn't reveal themselves, but you can hear the leaves rustling, and
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit uneasy just because we had such a large group.
Mhm.
And like I was saying earlier, I started thinking one of these creatures could easily take off in a sprint, come through this formation of people, grab somebody, and they're gone.
Mhm.
And I may have been overthinking it, or maybe giving way to fear, but that was a real concern I had at the time, right there in the moment.
Really? Monster Doug had a question on here. And welcome, by the way, Monster Doug. Jerry, would you have done anything differently knowing what you know now about the LBL?
Yeah, I would have tried to stay longer.
I mean, would you have taken, what did you take in with you as far as protection?
Well, everybody had some kind of sidearm. I mean, nobody was carrying long arms or anything like that. At least on our,
Mhm.
I don't know about the other guys. We didn't go out with them.
Mhm.
I think you could carry a 50 caliber M2 machine gun, and if they wanted you, you wouldn't you would be got.
Yeah.
I think
I don't think.
we're foolish to think that what we're up against is easily defeated with some kind of man-made weapon.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think. I agree with you. I don't think all the firearms in the world. I don't think many would stop that from stories I hear. If they want something, they're gonna get it. Yeah.
I think Martin could speak to that in volumes, as far as, I didn't have a chance to talk with him about that, but how being armed with the means of protection, how much that would protect you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm. It might scare them off, hearing the fire or hearing the report from it, but they'll be back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah. If they want you dead, it would happen within seconds. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I give Natalie a lot of trouble, but she's pretty smart.
Natalie is on the ball. She really. I'd never met Natalie in person until the LBL. We've been
Hmm.
on the CI show together a lot, and
Hmm.
that's how I met her initially. But finally got to meet her, and she's absolutely intelligent. She got it going on. I'm glad that I'm glad that she was there. Got to see her in action.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so talk about the stuff that's happened on your property outside of the what you just said. It sounds from what you were telling me before, kind of chatting before the show, and in the chats that we've had a week or so ago or whatever. It sounds like you get a lot of activity, both cryptid and paranormal out there.
Yeah, the South Mountains. I've been fortunate enough to get to collect stories from people, their encounters. Uh, we have ghost type of activity in this area, a lot of it. We have the strange lights, unexplained lights. I think some of them may be extraterrestrial. I think some of them are the orbs and the lights we see on the ground are paranormal. We had witch stories where one story in particular that happened not too far from here. A lady felt like a bad witch, a black magic witch, had paid a visit to her home, put a curse on her. But the big thing is the Bigfoot stories, the Bigfoot encounters. It goes way back in this area. When we first came here, I was in the woods a lot on the weekends, and my first clue was finding a lot of tree breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what they were just from being a casual reader and would occasionally watch a Bigfoot documentary. But until I saw like the 20th one, I finally thought, well, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
But I had really no other occasion to think that we had Bigfoot close to us. Even hearing some things at night that, as an outdoorsman with a lot of experience in Western North Carolina, I heard things that clearly wasn't the normal wildlife, if I can use that term. But then for some reason in about 2015, the vocalizations and things started happening more. Still yet, I still wasn't over in the camp of, gosh, we've got Bigfoot around here. I just chalked it up to, I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew people didn't like talking about it. And then when we had our encounter in 2017, uh, I've talked to several people about why all of a sudden the activity would increase. And I think it was because they logged part of the forest near us back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And there was in December of 2019, that's when I saw one for the second time. And then the next year in the spring of 2020, saw another one. But the vocalizations just increased to the point I've got hundreds of hours of audio recording from from whoops. Whoops and tree knocks are the most common.
Mm-hmm.
One that I can't explain and can't look you in the eyes and say, well, I know what that is the howls.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in my inner circle who's been here, who saw some of the killing sites for the deer and such, said, well, you have some dogmen around here too. But I know the first time that I heard that howl, that was almost as significant as the first time in August 2017 that I saw a creature with my own eyes. The first time I heard that howl, it unnerved me. It was absolutely terrifying. And I
Kind
sat
of,
down.
kind of set that scene a little bit. You're the first time you heard the howl. I mean, what were you doing? What's going through your head?
I was outside walking. We've got a lot of dogs. We rescue dogs. So at night, not only am I doing head counts in my pasture, but I'm taking a dog or two out at a time, walking them. We don't let them run loose. We have enough dogs around here that's been killed in horrible fashion that our dogs do not run loose. And so that particular night that I heard the howl, I had finished and decided to go stand outside. I was actually getting ready to call a friend of mine that I talked to late at night a lot. And down in the creek bottom below me, this howl just it it left me almost unable to move. I mean, it terrified me that much because I didn't know what it was, never heard anything like it, and it was so close. It was within 100 yards of me,
Oh.
give or take. It was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. I was out there by myself. My wife doesn't like to go outside at night, even in the winter. When I tell her spiders are not out in the winter, she hates spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Out there by myself every night, unless I'm on a trip. And that particular night, I was caught off guard. All the significant things that have happened were always times when I was caught off guard.
Funny how that happens, isn't it?
And it so affected me. I was replaying that sound in my head over and over. And I did something that I don't do. I sat down and started writing a poem about it. I don't know what I thought I was going to accomplish. And I didn't even show it to anybody. I didn't even show
Mm-hmm.
it to my wife for a couple of years. And then, I guess it was last year when I started my show on TikTok, I said, okay, I'm going to put myself out there and do a reading of this poem. And a lot of people connected with it.
Yeah. Is that the one that you sent me?
Yeah.
That was very, very well written, very awesome. I think the way you even read it just kind of made it that much more powerful. You can tell the emotion in your voice and stuff. And a little bit later on, I don't know if you want to do it now or if you want to do it a little later on, if you don't mind
I'll be
sharing that.
whenever.
I mean, it's a very, well, you know what? If you want to go ahead and do that now, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and thinking about it puts me in that somber mood. It puts me in a somber mood, and it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about it to this day, all these years later, that was in 2018, and it's still.
Yeah.
And I've heard the howl since, but it was further off. This was practically right up on me.
Wow.
So here's how it goes.
I'm gonna put you on the screen by yourself here.
Okay.
Or not. There we go.
All right, gather round and come close. And come closer. I will but whisper this or not tell it at all. These hills and hollers can hear, and they don't like their secrets being told. It was a night such as this, after the daylight had long died, and that smoky mountain mist crept in and covered earth, and soon was cradled by dark creek bottom. And the mist climbed uphill to where I stood. And at that moment, darkness to fear gave birth. I stood by the woods, my eyes straining. It was no use, though. The ridge's silhouette was no more. There was nothing left but impossible black darkness. Yet all the while my thoughts grew darker. I became overburdened by the lore. Those tales, those many tales of the things. And in that blind blackness, I could only listen, for I couldn't see. All things were blended by night into night. All things stood silent. I felt that it could hear my heart thump. And to stand in that place without retreating was a tortuous test and a mortal fight. For I knew it was drawing near. In the sound of silence, my thoughts began to wander. Then off guard, it caught me. Sudden terror shattered the evening. A long rising howl careening off every tree. And that howl reached my place and grabbed hold of me. My mind begged for safety. My soul longed for relief. And in the midst of the horror in my thoughts, I asked, what stalks and cries within the wood's smoky veil? And I could not say, but I instantly knew its song, and I still do. It was that lyricless piece called The Haunted Well. I was still restrained by the hypnotic drear covered in black. The howl rose up again, and it beckoned me. Come close, come close. While it yet came closer to me, I silently asked, was I meant to be here? Now I know this to be unimaginable to all but a few, and I truly hope this well never reaches any of you. As of now, you cannot envision this hell, but it's much too late for me, though. I know every dread note of the haunted well. If you come this far, you will feel and you will see. If you venture into these Appalachian nighttime woods, you will soon become what has late become of me.
Wow. That was incredible. I remember you sent me the link to your and by the way, that's on your YouTube page. Either Pam or Jenny has it on here in the chat. Go check that out again. That was incredible. Thank you. Well, first, thank you for sharing that with me on from your YouTube channel, and thank you for sharing that tonight. That was. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And this was all from one howl, right?
Now, the one thing I didn't preface it. Often, many times, I've been back there and down the hill in the woods. The leaf litter here in Appalachia is thick.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes these creatures will walk and they can move silent. Sometimes they choose not to, but oftentimes I can hear something walking in the leaf litter. And that night I had heard that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't scare me though. I mean, I had some distance, and then that howl caught me off guard. It was the lungs that it took to produce what I heard was unfathomable.
Yeah. I mean, something like that. Yeah, I don't know the size of that thing, but like you said, the lung capacity, it has to be massive. Just to know that there's something that massive, that potentially very dangerous, lurking in the shadows that close to us is very unnerving.
And we would here, what, 7 years later, there's a lot of things happening down here in this creek bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Family that came to camp, friends of mine, brought their kids, and that night the dad had drifted off to sleep. Mom was almost ready to go to sleep, and her two kids, one was 7, one was 9, and then they had another son there that was 19 and one that was 21. But the kid said, "Mom, there's somebody talking in the woods." Kind of brought her out of her slumber, and they were listening to some kind of gibberish. There was one that was speaking in whatever this language was, and then a second one chimed in and sounded angry, and then the original one said something, and my friend's wife said, "I'm sorry if we disturbed you," because she wasn't sure what she was hearing, and that's when the angry one chimed in then, and then the other one came back and didn't sound as angry. So they were hearing creatures or something walking in the woods in 3 places around them. When they decided in the dark, they packed up. Fortunately, it's accessible by vehicle. There's an old logging road down there. They packed up and left. I've camped down there with my cousin and that group of people, and we've always had experiences in that creek bottom with being around 3 in the morning, them moving in and surrounding. You can hear them walking around us.
Wow.
There's been so many things that's happened. You wouldn't believe my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got little pads like that thick of
Wow.
this happened.
I mean, they can mimic you too. I mean, they've been talking like that. I mean, unsuspecting people would think, "Oh, okay, there's somebody in distress out there, some good Samaritan. Okay, let me go help them," and then that happens. Wow.
It's the element of the unknown. What we know, what history tells us, we don't have any reports around here of somebody being hurt, but if somebody was snatched and they just disappeared, and we've had disappearances around here, we've had them all over the country. We don't know. I was talking about the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Just here in my small area, I've had personal experience with 2 different dogs that were killed in a horrible fashion. One was an old red bone hound. It was the hound dog that alerted me the night in December 2019, and my son and I wound up seeing one in the pasture down here. But he went missing for about half a day, and I found him in my barn. He wasn't even my dog, and he was so injured. He had the hide off of his rump was gone, and you could see tree bark stuck in there, so it was obvious he was slammed against a tree.
Mm.
Looked to me from the puncture wounds like something with big hands and maybe long fingernails or claws had grabbed him and punctured his skin.
Mm.
He was still living, but he couldn't walk, and I brought him in the house, and I called my neighbor and said, I've got your dog, and I'll take him to the vet in the morning, because he was our dog too.
Yeah.
He didn't make it about 10 o'clock that night.
Mm.
And then another dog here in our area was found. He went missing, uncharacteristically so. And he was found in the creek still alive, but his back was broken.
Mm.
And the vet said, I don't know how this dog got his back broken without having any type of external trauma. He certainly didn't get hit by a car, break his back, and then crawl 300 or 400 yards downhill into the creek
Yeah.
by itself.
Wow.
There is a happy story. I guess you're a dog lover too.
Oh yeah.
The story of Scoot. And Scoot was our dog, as a little 8-pound Yorkshire Terrier. And when we got him, he was 15 years old. He was blind, deaf, no teeth. He was mostly deaf. He could hear a little bit, but he was blind as a bat. Had 0 teeth. His last 2 teeth he had, we had to have them taken out. And one morning, in the chaos of having all the dogs that we have, he slipped out the door, and my wife didn't realize it, and he got gone. I searched for 2 days for that dog. And let's face it, everything in these woods would have wanted to eat a dog that little. A raccoon would eat it, a skunk, all the way up to a panther. After 2 days, I gave up on him.
Yeah.
And on the 19th day, my neighbor came on his golf cart. It was his custom to ride the creek every morning looking for ducks. He was a bird watcher. He said, I saw your dog down on the creek. And I assumed he meant dead. And he said, no, it's alive. And then I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity. It was a different dog. So I hightailed it down to the big creek. And there on a sandbar was my dog. And I went down that hill like I was 20 years old in the Army again, and went through hip deep water to get to that child. And I picked him up and just loved him. But Paul, he had a smell about him that was ungodly. It smelled exactly like the smell that we smell here a lot. Times when we've had close encounters where we've smelled the smell. I knew what the smell was. I didn't want to say it out loud. Even by that point, people will think that I am absolutely crazy if I say that these creatures saved my dog. But there's no other alternative solution to explaining this. And on the sandbar, there was no tracks around him, not even his own. And he was dry. And do you know that he gained 1/4 pound during that time period?
When dogs are lost like that for that long, they don't gain weight.
And he couldn't hunt. He has no teeth. He can't see.
Yeah.
Now I don't have any problem saying it. I believe that the Bigfoot creatures took that dog in and took care of it. And I believe they would set it there on that sandbar every morning, hoping my neighbor would see it.
Yeah.
Because I know they saw me and watched me and heard me out in the woods the 2 days I was looking for him, calling his name. And that there is no, if somebody has an explanation how that dog survived other than what I've said, I'm welcome to listen to it.
Yeah. And then to not have any tracks at all around it on the sand.
Yep.
Man. Well, when you first started telling that story, I was actually scared that it was going to be a really horrible ending, but thankfully it wasn't. And yeah, I mean, if only dogs could talk, and tell you what happened, but how else can you explain it? Really, like you said.
I believe they just, and now you're talking about a 6 foot bank on each side of this creek. I believe they heard him coming. My neighbor, I believe they set the dog there in place and then backed off.
Wow. That was wow. That was a fantastic, yeah. And yeah, what else could it have been? We have a couple questions here. Michael Collins, much respect to the NCI team. Y'all put on some great content. Can't wait to see what y'all investigate next. Hey, listen to me being all Southern there. What do you guys have next? I mean, if Channel 12 is a Channel 12 network, that's where you can find these guys. What days are you on?
We record Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I believe as soon as we record, Randy puts it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we always are coming up with expeditions to somewhere. We've got a couple we call them research areas that we don't disclose, deeper into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Got some things going on up there. We're wanting to do an expedition here. The guys have, Tim and George came back in the spring. They came here, and I took them and showed them 2 areas of kill sites where we found multiple deer that's been killed with fractured ribs and broke necks and broken legs. So we got a lot of work to do with this area, plus a lot of work to do over in the South Mountains themselves. Dwight Campbell and Bob Trent have done an amazing amount of work over there in the South Mountains. It's very active. I've got a person that called me about 6 weeks ago that asked me to come take a look. All of the wildlife stopped coming to their feeders. And I went and had a look around. I wanted I wanted him to show me the property and best he could. Do you know that night she got a picture, his wife got a picture while they were sitting on the back porch. It wasn't totally dark yet, but she got a picture of one watching them from the trees. Did a nighttime investigation there with a friend of mine named Todd Landers, who's one of my go-to people, and we got to experience hearing rock clacking for the first time. They picked up rocks and was just beating them together. I don't know if they were making some kind of music, but it went on for 10 minutes. So that's on the agenda, to investigate that site. But we always have something going.
So Trisha is asking, would you go back to the LBL?
Oh, absolutely. Not by myself. I'm not. Hats off to the intrepid people that know the area better, but will go and hike by themselves. But I'm not at that stage yet. So I'm going in with the group, but I can't wait to be able to get to do it again.
Safety in numbers. I mean, especially in that place. I don't think I would go in there by myself at all. Maybe during the day. But yeah, no. This could be a loaded question here. What do you know about the portals?
I don't know a lot. I've did a lot of thinking about that. We captured audio here near my place in the middle of the night. The sound, a metallic sound. It sounded to me, if you've ever seen the big dump trucks working, and when they put their bed down and that tailgate swings and will slam shut, it's what it sounded like. So what I think is possible with portals is that they open and close. How and why, I don't know. But I believe they are real. And other witnesses around the country have reported this metallic sound. There was the strange sound that was described in the David Paulides documentary, Missing 411, The Hunted, where the airborne ranger fellow was out hunting with his buddies, and he just up and disappeared. I feel bad I've forgotten his name now, but he just disappeared. No trace of him. But they described a very strange sound that day, and I believe he a portal opened, and either he went through it or it was taken into it.
Mm.
But beyond that, I just believe they exist, and that's all I can say with a lot of certainty.
So Bigfoot Feta says there he has a recording of the metallic sounds. I'm assuming in the woods, but he was told it was, or she was told it was birds. It's on the Facebook or YouTube page. Check that out. It would be interesting, and you know, like you said, I've heard more than 2 or 3 people say something about metallic sounds in the woods when there should be no metallic sounds anywhere. So that's, you know, that kind of links a lot of things together and makes more sense now to me.
Yeah, and we'll report a metallic sound more like maybe cookware clanging together, more of a
Mhm.
light sounding metallic sound, all the way up to what we heard that night, which was the thing that sounded like a dumpster being slammed on the ground, except we were in the middle of the woods and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
There's something to that.
Yeah. Now I can understand if somebody if a Bigfoot gets into a camp and steals or takes some, you know, metallic bowls and cups and stuff and clangs them together. I can kind of see that. But metallic scraping sounds, that's I don't know about that in the woods just being a natural sound. I mean,
Yeah, I don't buy into the explanation that I don't know of any birds that make a metallic sound, especially
yeah,
not the one I heard.
yeah,
But
uh,
you always have, and we're always going to run into this where folks are going to they they're still stuck in the box, and they're going to come up with the explanation that's most available and the easiest. You saw a bear, or that was a bird making that sound, or
mhm,
it was a misidentification, or whatever.
right, right,
We deal with a lot of that.
right. And you know, we're not trying to force this down anybody's throat or anything. We're not trying to make you believe what we believe in this thing. We're throwing this information out there. Whether you believe it or not, that is 100% up to you. We're not making you believe and stuff like that. But from hearing it from very credible sources, you, other people in the community here, carries a lot of weight. You know, I remember when I first got into this, I hear stories of this stuff. I'm like, come on, really? And then the more I hear it, I'm like, okay, okay. And then you know, you find the evidence yourself, and you're like, well, what in the world what else could be making this sound or noise or footprint or whatever? So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at with all this stuff.
Yeah, I went through the phase of thinking, well, gosh, are 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 we dealing with a bunch of hoaxers? And then I finally came to the realization that it would have to be a team of hoaxers working all the time and pretty
Hmm.
much that their entire life to leave footprints in remote places and be out in the woods and all hours of the night making the different vocalizations and the tree knocks. And I finally just arrived at the decision. I hate cliches, but I'm going to use one. It is what it is, and I'm with you on the. We're not trying to prove anything to anybody. I am absolutely not trying to do that, and that's not a desire I have. I do have the desire now that I've reached that point to share my experiences with other people, because people who have encounters with the unexplained need verification from other people who have encountered the same things.
Hmm. 100%. And a lot of people, this is therapy for them. I know a few people who use this platform as therapy. They see something, they don't know any other way to get it off their chest or to talk about it, and you know this is what helps them get through these uneasy moments in their life that are really hard to talk about. And I can completely understand that.
When people started kind of trickling in telling me about their experiences, it was crazy how it worked out, because I was on a a documentary called Monsters Across America that Fox Nation does. And I had asked them to silhouette me and disguise my voice. And at the time I was working here in Kaiser, North Carolina, at a little country store. So, that's the hub of information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they came and filmed, and then it came out in January of 21, and they silhouetted me, but they didn't disguise my voice. And everybody and their brother in 3 counties knew it was that dude that works down at the store. And I thought I was in for a hard time. People make fun of me. I do not like to be mocked or made fun of, and I can stand some of it. But I was thinking, gosh, what if somebody pushes me too far?
Mm-hmm.
But that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off, a man came in one day and said he wanted to talk to me when the store was empty. He showed me a picture and told me his story. And then somebody else told me a story. And then an elderly man and woman came in, and it amazed me. I started asking the people, why did you decide to tell me about this? I said, well, I wanted to tell somebody because I wanted somebody to hear the story that would believe it and let me basically get it off my chest, like you were saying. And it was real fortunate, because that's my love in all of this, is hearing people's experiences. And now when I got on TikTok and I gained some followers, and now I'm getting people coming to me from all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
telling me about their experiences. Ghost story from Okinawa. That's I guess that was the one that was the furthest away. But right now I'm sticking with stories from North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah.
But eventually may branch out.
Yeah. Here's a link to your YouTube channel, Rebels Dark Tales of Appalachia. Make sure you head on over there to check that out. Pam and Jenny have that in the chat.
Thank
so
you.
jump on over there. Yeah. Awesome stuff over there. So what's actually getting back to the portals? If you ever come across one that is open, would you ever go in it? See
No,
what's on the other side?
I wouldn't, because I believe when you do, I believe you become, well, the folks that people like David Paulides tells the stories of. I think you go in and you probably not going to come back out. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't want my family or the people that care about me to be left in that position of
Right.
it just disappear. There's no type of closure or anything. I would not walk into one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's too much of an unknown, and like you said, I wouldn't want to leave family, friends, and stuff. No, it's like Greg says, if he would ever see one, fly a drone through there, and maybe it comes back, maybe you see something for a second, what's going on in there. No, I mean that's too much of a risk, but certainly very curious.
I would stand there and look and hopefully get a picture of it, but that would be the extent.
Yeah. And who knows, you might be able to see from a distance what's through there. I mean, I don't know, I've never seen one.
Well, if you've ever heard the story of the encounter that 2 of the people on out at Skinwalker Ranch, it was people under Robert Bigelow when he kind of partnered with the government and began a
Mhm.
research team. There was two of his people that saw a portal open. They described it basically as a hole that opened up, and a
Mhm.
Bigfoot type creature stepped out of it, looked around, and then turned and walked down to the woods. That was the first time I really heard anybody talk about a portal,
Mhm.
and I wished I could remember all of the details. It's been a while since I've read that, but it is one of the books that's been
Yeah.
written about Skinwalker Ranch.
I mean, that's a crazy place. I would love to here's your TikTok page. Head on over there, follow that. Yeah, that Skinwalker Ranch is I would love to see that sometime, but again, careful what you wish for. So is there any place, I mean, you have a lot of areas around you with the Appalachian Mountains and everything. Is there any place that you have on your bucket list that you really want to explore?
Yes. I want to go back down toward Falk, Arkansas, Boggy Creek, and then on down a little further into the
Hmm.
Sulphur River bottoms. My son and I was actually planning a kind of a camping kayaking trip down there in the Sulphur River bottoms, but we never was able to because work carried him to the other side of the country, and we never got to do that. So that's first on the bucket list, to get down there and
Hmm.
really explore the area, Boggy Creek, Sulphur River bottoms there in Arkansas.
Hmm.
I want to go to the Pacific Northwest. I want to go to Canada, to Alaska.
Hmm.
But we've got wilderness here, but compared to what they have up there, we're just a little small island of wilderness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm being deep in the wilderness. I really, really am. I've always been drawn to that.
Hmm. Oh, you grew up in the camping a lot and in the woods a lot. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. Down in Falk, Arkansas, and Texarkana, that area there, that would be Will Lunsford is down there, and he has a lot of experience down there. So that would be definitely be a wonderful place to go, and I'm sure you can get a ton of activity out of that.
Wouldn't mind maybe going down there in Natalie's neck of the woods with the skunk ape and the swamps, but I hate the swamp. I was in the army, and I just cannot stand the swamp.
I don't blame you. And it's so hot and humid down there. I wouldn't. It's so long in the year. I wouldn't want to do that either. Yeah, that the swamps, alligators and everything. No thanks. Um, but yeah, I've heard a lot of really cool, interesting things up in Alaska. Um, Bigfoot Fadez, a lot of cool things up in Oregon. She's up there in Oregon. So that would be a fantastic place to go.
Well, I've got a question for you and everybody.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite paranormal series on TV? Not counting like in a world of podcasting,
Mhm.
mainstream TV shows.
So honestly, so if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I would have said Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans. Um, but since then, I have come to not like that show because with just what am I trying to say? Over sensationalized or whatever. And a lot of the TV shows that you see just don't do it for me. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. One thing that I do like to watch that seems to have a little bit of everything for everybody is Paranormal Caught on Camera. I mean, they have ghosts, they have Bigfoot, they have all kinds of strange, unexplained things happening, and then they have a panel, I guess, that tries to debunk it or explain it better. But actually, outside of that, and that's very infrequent. I watch YouTube, documentaries and small town monsters a lot. A lot of other stuff that we have one guy up here, Miguel Ramirez, Sasquatch Theory, down here in southwestern Missouri, maybe southern Missouri, in the Ozarks down here. He has some great content out there. I mean, he's one that I would love to watch, to go, meet and go investigate with, that's around here that knows this area. Um, but yeah, I mean, outside of those things, I don't get to watch too much TV. What about you?
The series that hooked me, and I've watched most episodes like 50 times, is These
Mhm.
Woods Are Haunted, Terror in the Woods.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you saw that show, but that's people telling their stories, telling their experiences, and then they'll have the people on camera, the actual people telling what happened, and then they'll cut and they'll have actors acting out the story. But I just love hearing about people's encounters from their own mouth. I love that. And
Hmm.
that's what that show is all about. I think it's almost kind of a well-kept secret
Yeah,
because
I
I'll
hadn't
ask.
heard of that one. And you said, I can't even read this. These woods are haunted. Terror in the woods. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's not just Bigfoot. It's probably 80% Bigfoot or dogmen, but
Hmm.
they have a number of really, really good encounters involving ghosts and that end of the paranormal.
And really, any I don't want to say anybody can do like a fictional story or anything like that, but like you said, that's why I like watching these kind of shows, that you get to have the guests tell their story in their own words. And if you follow them around on different shows, platforms, whatever, they're telling the same story, they're true and everything. And I like that a hell of a lot better than something that's put on TV, like the Ghost Adventures, like the other TV shows that it might not be. I've been in haunted locations. Yeah, it's scary, but it's not. Oh my god! And you just have to run out of there. That it's so freaking scary. I mean, there could be some demonic things that would make you want to run out of there, but not every single location you go to is like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll check that out. What is that on? Do you remember?
But I think it's available on other platforms too.
All right, so I'm sure it's on Netflix or something like that. Or if you have a Fire Stick, you can probably search it on there somewhere. So yeah, that would be. I'm gonna have to check that out, because that's more of something that I like, just like you. That I love hearing the stories.
Yeah, and I believe, being that they show the witnesses as they're telling about their experience. I retired from court system, and I spent
Hmm.
23 years in that environment of reading people.
Hmm.
And I believe the witnesses that they feature on there, I think they're the real deal.
And you can tell, like you said, you can tell by one, how they sound when they're telling the story, their facial expressions, their reactions, how they're telling the story. You can tell that it affected them deeply, just like when you were reading that poem that you wrote. You can tell that really got to you. And that's stuff that I love to watch. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking this out.
In terms of witnesses, I've had the opportunity to talk to so many people, and I prefer, if at all possible, to meet with them in person.
Hmm.
It's not always possible, but I get to at least get to talk to them on the phone. And of course, no disrespect to anybody, but I've screened out some stories that I'm not going to talk about because I think that it was just a very well made up story, and hats off to them. But what I want to center around is people who have truly had experiences with ghosts or Bigfoot or UFOs or whatever, as long as it's something related to the unexplained.
Hmm.
I'm really blessed of all the people that I've got to talk to. I've really been blessed in getting to hear some incredible
Hmm.
experiences.
I agree. I mean, doing this and hearing stories, week in, week out, sometimes repeat guests and stuff. And this, it's so interesting to hear what they experienced. And I got a question for you. Since you started doing this, and since you had your own experience, and since you've gotten more into the woods and everything else, do you feel that something is opening up that is allowing you to see more things and be able to feel more things, as far as the cryptids and paranormal world?
I have thought about that so much.
Hmm.
People ask me, well, why have you had these experiences? Well, number one, I live in a hot spot, but number two, I am outside at night every night
Hmm.
unless I'm not here. Even when it's raining, I have to go out to do my thing with my farm animals and my dogs and everything. But I've wondered, like other witnesses have, did they reveal themselves to me and my wife that night for a reason?
Hmm.
I mean, this creature chose to be standing there beside the road. I mean, and for 100 meters or more, the creature could see our headlights coming, but it stayed there long enough for us to see it. And then in the other 2 times, it was a split second. All 3 times, split second, and then they were gone. So I wonder, did they why would they choose some people to reveal themselves to and not others? I've heard people say, well, they can kind of read your heart, know that you don't have mean intentions or bad intentions. And for the record, I will, unless me or somebody else was in imminent danger of being killed right then and there, I would never harm one of these creatures. If now folks have been put in that position where they had to take shots, but they had no other alternative, and I would do that if I had to.
Right.
And if I ever found one, a dead creature, there would be I certainly wouldn't go public with it.
No. Yeah, I'm just like you in that regards. That why would they pick one over the other? And I really do believe that they can read your thoughts, know your intentions, and maybe that's why they don't come after some people. Maybe they're watching us from a distance, reading, okay, this guy, he's fine, he's not going to hurt anybody, he doesn't have any ill intentions in them, just want to be out in the woods. But you know what, we're going to throw a rock just to make sure that they know that we're there. And that's really what I think that the rock throwing and stuff is, just let you know that you're in a place that we're watching you. Be careful.
Right. I agree with you 100%. I have been personally present on 3 different rock throwing episodes. The last one was in the first weekend of August last year, and my wife and I did what we call creek walking. Put on her water shoes. She likes it because she doesn't have to negotiate the foliage. We walk in the creek. We walked into an area that I had only been in that area one time, and just to aggravate her, I picked up a stick when we were taking a break, and I beat on a tree and immediately got a wood knock from each side of us.
Wow.
I talked her into, all right, let's just observe and watch. Everything's cool. Nothing happened. So we got back to creek walking, and about 5 minutes up the creek, a piece of quartz a little bit smaller than a softball, I guess, came in and missed her head by inches.
Wow.
Splashed in the creek next to us. Now she declined my offer for us to stop and observe again. She said, "You can stay here if you want to. I'm out." She looked like she was water skiing without a boat pulling her.
Oh.
But if they wanted to hit her, they could have. The other time, I was in a friend of mine had found a track, photographed it, got back in his Jeep on the dirt road, going up the road, and a rock would come in from the woods and hit the top of his brand new Jeep. It left a nasty gouge in it. And then the very first rock throwing incident was, we were on a night hike. We were nearing the end of our night hike, and the rock came in. We could hear it coming through the trees. It wasn't thrown like straight baseball style. It came in like a mortar round, but it missed us. It landed close, but it missed us. If they wanted to hit us, they would. But why? My question is, why are they saying, okay, we want you to know we're here and that you just be aware. I don't have an answer to that question exactly.
Is it that, or is it them saying, get out? This is a warning. We know that they can hit us if they try. I mean, if they want to. Next, they throw one that's close by. Next time, if we don't leave, next time we'll get hit.
Yeah, and the day that my friend's Jeep got hit, I believe the creature, or the creatures plural, was mad that we found that print. It was that the depth of that print, that creature had to be 600 or 700 pounds. Wow. And I think it was chasing a deer. It was one step, From water's edge to the one print we found was 4 feet, and then another 4 feet to the water's edge on the other side. And it
Mm-hmm.
was clear that it was running. And I think sometimes they slip up and they'll leave a print. I think they're very, very conscious about that. I believe most of the
Yeah.
prints we find are juveniles who don't have the experience. And I think that day it was mad, or they were mad,
Mm-hmm.
and threw that rock uh, as a warning.
Yeah. Wow. Um, what are your thoughts on gifting? I like to ask this question to just about everybody that comes on. What are your thoughts on gifting Bigfoot?
I will leave fruit up in
Mm-hmm.
the woods. There's a high ridge, and I take the fruit. I take twine, nylon twine, and I'll kind of stick the needle through the fruit, and I hang the fruit up between two trees, up out of the deer's reach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't leave gifts like in my backyard.
No, that would be too close. Yeah.
I almost wonder, and this is total theory, but all the times at night when we've had the house beat on, I wonder if the people that lived here before us gifted, and we don't.
And that they're mad that you don't, and they were beating on your house.
Yeah, and I mean, it usually happens 11:30, 12, 1, 2 in the morning. They've been on. We're certain we heard one on the front porch one night, and it knocked one of our rocking chairs off the front porch. So they're
Dang.
obviously comfortable in coming this close, but they do it at night.
Yeah.
I can tell you maybe 2 or 3 times when I've heard a vocalization during the daytime, and I've certainly
Mhm.
never seen one in the daytime. And
Wow.
Tim's theory on that is, well, we have area wilderness, but we have a little neighborhood here. So like my theory with the LBL, at night there's less human activity.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, they feel comfortable coming up out of the woods then and doing these different things that I spoke of.
Mhm. And I think with the houses and stuff, they're watching you guys for so long, and they know who's here, who lives where, who could possibly be a threat, and they're more comfortable with you guys, and maybe they know you guys. And that could certainly explain them coming up to your front porch and wanting to sit on your recliner or your rocking chairs or something like that.
Yeah, and but by and large, the rule here, as is in a lot of places, is just something that people don't talk about. It's a
Really?
taboo subject. I've gotten in hot water with some folks for talking about it, and then when I started my show, oh my goodness, did I take some chewing? I took some butt chewings,
Around
but
your
you didn't.
neighborhood?
Yeah, and in general, in this area in general, is that people have been taught, well, we just don't talk about it.
Mhm.
What's happening, and I've gathered this from what people have told me. Growing up, their parents, you're not allowed to be outside at night.
Mhm.
Draw the curtain shut. And my great grandparents did this, but go as far as pinning the curtain shut.
Mhm.
But a child goes outside at night under no circumstances, and whatever strange things that they experienced as a child, their parents told them,
Mhm.
you don't tell anybody about this.
Right. That's a very common thread in a lot of the stories that I've heard, that people say it's been passed down from generation to generation, but it's something that you just my grandparents or my parents say that you just do not talk about this outside of our family and stuff. So I mean, it's probably their generation back then that was, this is just the whole thing, paranormal, cryptid, everything. It's just, you know, you don't want to talk about that. That's weird stuff. We don't do that. But
Now,
now I think it's a lot more mainstream, for
I
sure.
was point blank by 2 different people when I first came here, because as I said earlier, I would disappear in the woods.
Hmm.
I was told, do not go into these woods by yourself. And of course, I said, well, why not? And they gave me that, well, because I said so. you don't need to be in these woods by yourself. Day or night.
Yeah. I like that because I said so.
Pretty much that was the answer I was given.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Um, but I mean, that's what they feel and that's what they believe in. That.
Yeah, and here in the foothills, I mean, it's still the mountain culture. It's people are more private.
Yeah.
They value their privacy and their solitude. And I certainly would never bring in like big crews or anything to come and
No.
do any kind of research. I did 2, 3, 4 people at a time, something like that.
Yeah.
But I try to keep it low key, and I never name names. I've got a few witnesses who said that they would not only care if I use their name, but they'll come on camera, and I'm planning on doing that.
Mhm.
Hope the first one I do with the actual witnesses being on camera will be the family that heard the gibberish. That's in the plans anyway. But that
Mhm.
people their privacy here. They don't want people coming in from all the time from the outside and
Right.
just be traipsing through the woods and that type of thing. And I certainly would never do that to them.
Yeah. And there's ways on here to hide people's identity, maybe not so much their voice, but they don't have to have the camera on and stuff. And as long as people don't recognize their voices, I mean, and that's completely understandable too, that they don't want to be found out or have their story told and everything. But one more quick question before we head out. Have you ever run into any feral people?
I'm pretty sure I've seen evidence of it. There was an old homestead that I found that had that odd stank human, like if we go a week without taking or 2 without taking a bath, we have a certain odor.
Hmm.
Now I've interviewed one witness in particular uh, who had a run in with feral people about 25 miles northwest of where I live back in 1978,
Hmm.
and he saw 3 of them, but he thinks there was a total of 5. And of course, I've talked to people here in the area who's been back in the mountains and said that they've run across feral folks.
Hmm.
Think that they may be responsible for some of the disappearances of the pigs and goats and things that have gone missing over the years.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be explained with the 411, um, with feral people, Bigfoot, whatever. I think that has a lot to do with it, quite a bit.
No, I don't want to run into any feral folks when I'm out here in these woods.
Yeah, yeah, I don't blame you. I, I'm not too crazy about running into a Bigfoot or a dog man. At a distance is fine. But yeah. Um, Jerry, this has been a fantastic show. It's been fun talking with you. Just a lot of information and a lot of great stuff. I really appreciate you coming on here tonight.
Well, I appreciate you asking me. And now at this point in my life, I feel blessed to have had the experiences that I've had, and I'm glad to share them with people. And I'm glad I came out of that phase of not talking to anybody about it.
Me too. And that's a great thing. And people hearing your stories thinking, okay, I had a story similar or an encounter similar to his. Maybe I can get this off my chest too. And that's just so great, like we mentioned before. So such great therapy for people. And and they love hearing these stories too. I mean, I do. I love hearing this stuff. So real quick, we have I just want to throw out some links here. Your YouTube channel, Rebels Dark Tales of Appalachia. I don't have the link for channel 12. Is it How do they get to channel 12?
You can go on the internet. Just put in Channel 12 TV Network.
Okay.
It should bring up our website. We're also on Facebook,
Hmm.
and Rob Effler has a NCI pages on TikTok and on Instagram. I know of, and you can also eh, reach out to me on Facebook, Jerry Millwood Jr. on Facebook, There we go. There it
There
is.
it is. You know, as I say it, and my wonderful mods, all of a sudden it appears. So there's that. You guys are excellent. Looking forward to seeing you both, or all of you guys from NCI in January. By the way, if you are in the Alabama area and want to meet a lot of really cool people, come down to Greg Ogle's premiere for The Vanished, January 31st in Glendale or Gardendale, Alabama. So that's going to be a fun time. Definitely a lot of great speakers. I know I'm going to be down there podcasting and probably doing some lives that weekend. So definitely come out there, check that out. So again, Jerry, can't thank you enough for being here. It's been an honor having you here. I appreciate you, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Quick shout out to all my NCI people and Channel 12 people, and also a shout out to the guys in Sasquatch Recon.
Awesome. Real quick thank you to Gary Spike Sr. for the $10. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday, and now that you're on here today, I want to thank you for your service. You've served in the Army. I want to thank everybody who's in chat. I know Gary served. He's a veteran. Anybody else that I'm missing, thank you all for your service and protecting our country and giving us so much that we have today. So Jerry, thank you for your service.
One more, Martin. I forgot my new buddies, Martin Groves and Mike Smith and Mark Roberts.
Mm-hmm. Mark Roberts. So I'm trying to get Mark on the show. We need to come up with a date, and we're going to get Mark on the show. And we're going to talk all kinds of LBL stuff. And I might even get out there to the LBL and with him. So we'll see. But anyway, everybody have a great night. I appreciate you all for coming in here. Have a great rest of your week. Remember, Blondes and Booze tomorrow, along with 4 Blondes and 1 Mystery at 1 Mystery at a time at 6:30 Central. So tune in for that. Krista, I hope you're feeling better. Everybody, great night. I will see you all next Tuesday. Jerry, thanks again.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.